looks like that it's had, significant impact, but again, it's only, a month and a half, not quite even, 2 months, so it's hard to say, for sure. Is that nanotechnology, is it a replacement for traditional aerators with, or is it something that you work in conjunction with? And is it, like 483, is it something that we would basically pull out at a time in the future, or is it a long-term? I just don't understand, how is it as a replace?
I'll answer that for you.
Great.
This is not a permanent replacement for our aeration units like we have on most, all of, on those ponds that required aeration in Gateway. This is in conjunction with.
Okay.
Like I said, this unit, we have agreed for them to have it there for 1 year if necessary. It's only been there a couple of months. We are seeing some good improvement in the algae in the water. Plus, we've added traditional aeration to 83 with some new diffusers on the bottom of the pond to also help break up where we feel like this layer of phosphorus is bound in the muck on the bottom of that pond. Ernesto showed us some really good graphics of a bathymetric survey, and the clear spots on the pond were where each aeration head was. So adding the additional aeration also helps to break up the sediment and the muck on the bottom of the pond. But this is not, it is not a permanent fixture on that pond.
Like steroid.
Yes, it's, you use it for several months, and then they come and take it out. And then you try to maintain the pond in a healthy state.
Can you just check, I'm just out of curiosity, what one of those units would cost?
I will check on that.
Mrs. Flaherty?
Yes,
you.
Joan.
You were there.
Yes, ma'am.
Mrs. Flaherty. Okay, thank you. If it's only a temporary fix, why would we go with a solar one that would cost us more, since the electric one, this is only for a temporary, fix, it's only a temporary use, so.
The nano bubble aeration is the only one that's temporary. The other ponds are permanent aeration, and it stays in the pond. So those are they're year round, but this will not be there forever. This unit will eventually come out from, the bank of Lake 83.
Okay. Peroxide, isn't that damaging?
Not when it's done correctly,
No.
not when it's applied at its proper rates.
No, there's no toxicity at all to this process, not at all. And I mean, we use it all the time, but you have quick release, which can be, basically it almost works overnight on planktonic type algae cells. And then the slow release, peroxide literally lasts for months, and it just releases real slow. It just oxidizes the water, and it's fantastic.
Which is basically what this
toxic.
nano's doing.
There's not a toxic label to it at all. It's all very good, very good. Yeah, and I think that the nano thing, to take that, it's almost like a specialized, when you have an issue like 83, which has been a bugger for a long time, you really got a problem. That may be the last, one of the last things that you're trying on that kind of situation. So, but and hopefully we'll see how it works, time will tell.
Mr. Todd, you have a question?
Yes, I do. Al, do we have pictures of 83 before and after this nano aerator?
I bet Flavia
Yes,
does.
we have some.
I do. I just created an album, so make it easy for you guys. I actually have a picture right before and then after, so you can actually go through all of them. So this is right before.
This is what?
This is right before it was installed in the water, this is August 9th. And then if you go this way, you feel it.
I have more of them.
And there's actually some good videos on YouTube around nano aeration, or call it nano bubble.
Look how far out there
You
you
have
can
some
see this.
both lake examples and kind of lab examples, which is pretty interesting. Yeah, I mean, some of them really show the projection of those bubbles is pretty. I don't know what we have, but it seems like it really pushes it out to to a vast distance.
Yeah, it has to do with how much, time it spends traveling through the water column. Because it's got a
So it
substance
builds
in
up
it.
pressure and then you have projection
Where
longevity.
they
I
pump it
guess.
out, what's the product they're pumping out. It's,
This is
there's a,
before
it's like,
and
but it's
it's right.
high intensity.
It's
Yeah,
incredible.
but anyway, the bubbles stay in the water column for a long time. As it rises, it's real slow. And so the more time that has to be in contact with the water, I think that helps a lot. No, that was it.
And
I just
you
had a question for Chris. Chris, does our wastewater treatment plant over here use hydrogen peroxide for disinfection? Or do they use chlorine still?
No, it's chlorine.
There's still chlorine, and converted to hydrogen peroxide?
Yeah, they manufacture the sodium hypochlorite, have a generator over there.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. We appreciate
Thanks,
it.
guys.
Thanks for the time.
I'm gonna call if Al, well, sorry, I'll ask Al, did you have anything else that you wanted to?
No, I just wanted to ask if there was anything else that I could answer for you, or,
Get dollar values, operation and capital cost.
gotcha. Very good. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the presentation, thank everyone.
I have one, I just wanna address
And please state your name.
Flavia Walsh, Magnolia Lakes. Just two things that I want staff and the board to really look into it. When we're having the company come in and propose a solution for the pond, the nano, they give us an estimated time. A lot of the times on 83, what I saw was recommendations from the company 6 to 7 months, a year, 2 years. And we didn't wait that long. We pulled out either the treatment, we pulled out because we didn't think we saw results fast enough, but we didn't allow the recommended time. And I'm afraid that that's what's gonna happen with nano, because I will look back, but the recommendation is for 1 year. But if I recall, we only authorized it 6 to 9 months. So I just caution us to spend all this money and doing it almost all the way but not finishing. And then just to touch on one thing what George mentioned, we used nano as the last resort. I wonder how much money have we spent on the last 6 years that we've been aggressively treating this pond versus the nano. So maybe having the nano in other ponds should be number one.
I almost think we need to do it, I'm sorry. Do you want-
No, go ahead, I was just gonna say, we don't wanna know how much we've spent.
Well, in order to do, in my opinion, in order to do a full control, you have to run it for 12 months. Because, coming in September,
Dry month.
well, the time before that, during the summer, when you have rain, you've got heavy fertilizer.
And it's colder now too.
I'd like to see this extended for about 30 to 45 days and see that same deal, that we don't see a hiccup, that the minute we pull the nano, back it goes again.
That's an excellent point. Are we gonna have regression the moment that is pulled out?
I don't know, I would tell
Well, we
you,
need to find
this is
out.
the first time that actually Ernesto was working on that data. I only saw it today. But as just visually looking at the pond, I noticed a huge difference. And in addition to the last day that I took samples right at the same location. And I was concerned that it was only getting so clear, and when I'm talking clear, I'm talking crystal bottle clear, that I contacted Ernesto and I actually went across the pond, completely opposite way, and I took a sample there because I wanted to see, is it just getting better right
So
here?
you thought there was a zone of influence?
I did. I was like, this is just too good to be true. I mean, I can't have this, and the results were very similar.
Yeah, we need to.
Right.
we need to
Almost
mark-
my fear is, there's a couple things. I think you have to run it for a year to run through a natural cycle. But also, to Phil's point, to regression, you have to pull it out at some point to see if and under those normal circumstances, again, if it would return back to that natural state. I mean, that's a risk. I mean, honestly, you wanna keep it crystal clear for,
That's why I would reduce that term down to like 60 days, pull it, and then see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you
But I don't
start
know if
talking,
but see, I don't know if that would be accurate, because what leads into, like, if you pulled it, let's say in 60 days, you're not, that time period may not be the same as the months prior to.
But what I'm trying to do is try and get some idea as to,
Long term.
this thing is like an injection.
Yeah.
How long is the steroid gonna last? A 1 year period, boy, that really makes it difficult to make decisions going forward. But if we find out you go 60 days and then all of a sudden it doesn't regress, now all of a sudden you've got something that you can use of, well, we'll go in here and we'll give it a shot, and we know it lasts so long.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things that unfortunately takes time to get this data to draw an evaluation.
Yeah, that was my point, is you have
Yeah.
2 time periods. You run it for a year and then regression, or you go short term, pull it.
What is this, you say
They can do
solitude,
it.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Are we the
Vertex.
guinea pig? Is this the only place that's ever been done? So then what did they find with the other communities?
River
Yes.
Ridge has been using it for a few months.
I mean, there's tons of stuff on. Like,
No,
Pelican Sound, River
We
Ridge.
need to have them tell us that their recommendation is
Of the testing
keep it
as
in
well.
30 days, 45, 90 days, or a year.
Well, their recommendation was a year.
Oh, they said a year.
And that's what I wanna, if we're having them come here, assess it, give us a prescription for it, and we're just not following it, we're not gonna see the results.
Well, you said that that is gonna be there for a year, is that right?
That was the agreement that we have signed with
Okay,
Solitude.
so it will be there a year.
Sounds good. And then just to help in assisting that, I know the planting of the Latoros is gonna come real soon, so hopefully by the time we're pulling that nano, the Latoros will go in, and so it's going to assist. And I'm also happy to inform that Magnolia Lake has signed up with, all-inclusive lawn care, so we're gonna have one vendor taking care of fertilization in the entire community. So that's gonna really help the HOA manage the fertilization and things like that. So we are taking steps on our side. Hopefully by the end of the 12 months, a combination of things will make us just keep going. That's it.
Thank you very much. Any other questions for Elle, or any other questions that anybody has?
I just, one for you, or maybe it's Chris. If we run across another lake, because we've been dealing with 83 for a while. I mean, the fact that it's clear, it's like,
10
you know,
years.
let's keep it moving forward. Okay. But if we run across another lake that has issues, maybe our first response would be maybe to test this nano aeration again. You know, maybe that might give us another test indicator of how quickly it can turn around before we use, natural or other treatments.
We'll be having a swimming party before long.
Yeah, Magnolia Lakes. Just want to thank everybody that took time out to come and present to us today. And with that in mind, I'm going to call the workshop adjourned. And I'd like to take a 5-minute break. And then we'll start the regular meeting.